Hello, 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 and welcome to Realign to Thrive with Facebook Live. I'm Diana Lockett, and I'm super happy today to have my special guest, Laurie Davis, with me. And this is a woman who has done so much in her lifetime, which appears to have started with a teaching career, moving in towards administration, and then being wanting to create something that was a little bit more holistic from what I understand. And so she created training and mentoring and facilitation and teaching in her own unique way. She has supported youth, Aboriginal communities. She has done 13 radio talk shows. She is currently doing her own TV show and has multiple book projects in the works, including one getting launched today. So thank you so much, Laurie. I am so grateful to have you here. I know it's a really busy day for you, and I'm looking forward to hearing about how you've done so much in your lifetime. So welcome to my show.
Diana, thank you for having me. I always feel honored and privileged when people want to hear your stories.
Yeah, and you have. I'm just seeing such a story. Tell me a little bit about how you have done so much and the transitions and the transformations that have happened in your life as you've moved from your teaching career, classical teaching, to something that was very different, and how you've created so much content that's still available in the world, and might I add, in multiple languages. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Well, sure. I decided after 15 years in the school system that it really, I loved the teaching part, but a lot of the bureaucratic decisions or decisions were being made that I didn't feel supported the kids, and I just really couldn't do it anymore. And I decided that I would go out on my own. But between the school career and my own company, private training company, I had a 12-year stint with a cosmetic organization just to have some income. And lo and behold, that turned into a full-time business. And I learned lots there. And I learned a lot about Laurie in that environment, totally different than being in a teacher. So one day across my desk, this package, and it was about the art of facilitation and learning how to be an effective facilitator. And I said to my husband, Ron, who was my partner, I said, you know what? I need that training. It was $15,000 American for 6 days in 1994.
Yeah.
I went, I need that. So we made that happen. And I go to Toronto, Canada. And guess who's the toughest kid in the room to try and reprogram?
Was her name Laurie?
Yes, I'm afraid so, because Laurie was very resistant, and I thought I had everything under control and that I was confident. And I found out at that training that I didn't have any self-worth to speak of at all. And because now I'm an educator and I've been in the beauty business, so I knew how to talk and I knew how to get pretty. But at the end of the day, I was the most difficult. They worked with me till 10 o'clock to deprogram a lot of my control and things that I was doing that I thought I was still talking to a bunch of children, you know. So that was the transition. And I know there were 10 of us in the program. It was tough and hard, but I took what I learned and I turned it into a business. And that is what I have been doing for the past 30 years almost. So yeah, it's been quite the journey. And I started out with 10 little workshops, and I grabbed 2 of my girlfriends. I said, I think I'm onto something, and I'm going to practice my facilitation skills with you. And I wrote 10 little workshops, and they came for 10 weeks. And from those 10 workshops, we still run those workshops today. It's called our Core Empowerment Program. And now we have over 400 workshops in our lineup. So it's grown and expanded itself extensively.
What are the workshops primarily? Who's the target audience for your workshops, and what are the components of the workshops? It's all personal development, personal growth?
Well, my demographics are really broad. My youngest client has been 6. My eldest client has been 93. Males, females. I've crossed all 4 cultures, races, if you will. I've been to Taiwan, Asia, Europe, North and South in our country and the US. But it's my demographics are really broad. And that's why people wanted me on the air, because I had teenagers listening to my show, because we have a program for youth. So it was kind of like a little formula. I realized after my stint in the cosmetic business, and I wanted to start my own business, I realized something. It was almost like an invention. I realized that most people are walking around feeling like there's something wrong with them. I also know that many people lack self-confidence. They don't know how to take a risk. They have to have all the ducks lined up before they can buy the blender.
Yes.
And the third thing is communication. Many people are ineffective communicators. And I thought, if I create some things that would support those 3 areas, it's not counseling, it's not therapy, that's a totally different service, but this is education. So all of the programs, no matter what they are, whether it's for a couple or teens or adults, professional women, it doesn't really matter, because every workshop in the series works on those 3 things. Number one, repairing your damaged self-worth. People walking around feeling like they are nothing, or that there's something wrong with them because they have a crooked tooth, and so they've been very, my clients are very, they get the success happening right away. And that's because of the delivery system. We only meet with a client, no more than 6 in a group, an hour a week. So they get the information, then they have a week to process it, implement it, and bada bing, bada boom, it's working.
And how many weeks are the programs?
40.
40 weeks?
Yes.
Wow, that's a big commitment.
It is. We broke it up into 4 10-week modules. And we built the modules based on requests from our clients. Like I had a mom come up to me and say, my 14-year-old son could really use this. Have you got a program for youth? And I said, no, but I can create one. And that's how the product line evolved. People would say to me, is there something you can help us with? Like, our relationship is in trouble and it's only about communication. Do you have a program for that? And I would say, give me till Monday, we'll have one.
Now, I create programs. I know how much work goes into that. So, wow, kudos to you. Do you have a team that co-facilitates or does some of the facilitation, or do you do it all yourself? Yeah.
No, we've always had teams.
And what are the names of your program? The overall umbrella name of your programs?
Self-Worth, the Missing Link.
Self-Worth, the Missing Link. So we'll put that in the comments so that people can find it, right? Do you have a website for that specifically?
Yeah, I have my own personal website, and there's information on there about everything that I do. So just Laurie, www.lauriehdavis.com.
Okay, so we'll make sure to put that in the comments. That's amazing. I love how first of all, you say yes to life. Do you have this? Yes, I'll have it on Monday. I love that. That is such an important mantra for me, to say yes to life. When the opportunities show up, they're knocking at your door. What do you say yes to? And now you have said yes to radio shows. How did that come to happen?
Oh, well, this goes back many years ago when my sister said to me, Laurie, you should be on the air. And I went, oh, yeah, right. Really? And she said, no, I'm serious, with your voice and what you know. And I resisted, of course. But then she said, I've gotten you a little gig. And I said, you have? And of course, this was back in the day when everything was done in a mainstream studio. We drove an hour into the studio. I was on the air for 3 minutes and then drove home. But it was a golf show. Now, this is really funny, Diana, because I've never played a game of golf in my life. But I was the person on there to encourage the golfers. You guys, you've got this. You can do this. It's a matter of mind over matter. And I had guys like John Daly and Mike Weir, who were big golfers back in that time, calling me and saying, hey, I listen to the show every weekend. And it was a Saturday morning. So that was my first show. And then the young producer said, you should put a proposal into the station. This was a big national radio company across Canada. And they're looking for a talk show host. You'd be fantastic. So I put a proposal in and I got it. And
Wonderful.
now I'm on the air 2 hours every Sunday evening. I drove in and we did our show. And 10 weeks later, we got syndicated. And now I've got people in Vancouver calling me wanting to know more about my program. I had to ship a facilitator out there. Yeah, it's been interesting.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And
Yeah.
then fast forward a few years, and now radio has turned into TV show. Tell me about that.
Well, I'd always actually I was looking at some old journals as I was packing, and I had one back in 2002, and on it was I wanted to have my own TV show. So I
Mm.
always tell people, be careful what you write down, because research has shown if you have it written down, it increases the chances of it happening by 85%. So if you want something, just write it down. Don't put it on your computer. I have all the walls. I have tons of journals, but television, any media format is so powerful, and it can all be used for good or it can all be used for not so good.
Mhm.
And I've been on both sides of that fence.
Mhm.
So I want to use any format of media I can. So like I think the technology right now, I've been using that technology since 2002. I have over 14,000 hours working online. So when all of a sudden everybody has to be online, I'm going, well, finally, the
We've
technology's
caught up to you.
been here for years,
Yeah, that's funny.
right? Yeah. So that was another whole learning curve because I wasn't sure at the time if it was the way to go, but I'm certainly grateful today. And now I do a program called Powerhouse Podcasting, showing people how to be professional online. They have no idea. I'm watching all of these podcasts, and not to be disrespectful or unprofessional, but I can see where people really don't know how to be that because we haven't done it before. That's all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm my first career is as a speech and language pathologist, and I really feel like I want to put together a program to help people to deliver their message with greater clarity and professionalism, because I hear people talking and they have a great message, but it's not landing because the way that they communicate lacks professionalism, lacks clarity, has too many fillers in it. And so I'm looking to put something like that together. What's going to be the name of, or what is the name of your TV show? It's the Laurie Davis Show.
Yes.
And what's the
I
premise of that show?
Well, I established the Laurie Davis show in 1999. So once I could see that I was going to be more on the air, I just branded that.
Yeah.
So the TV show has the same name. So 5 days a week, starting June 1st, 2 o'clock Mountain Time every day. And Monday is Personal and Professional Development Day. So my guest, if I have one, I don't need a guest to do a show. I have enough stuff, but if I have a guest, Tuesday is health and wellness. So I bring in health and wellness experts. Wednesday, business, money matters, finance, entrepreneurship. Thursday, culturally diverse day. I interview people from the Aboriginal community, the Black community, Asian community, whatever. And then on Friday, it's kind of a fun day, Fun Friday. Celebrities, authors, comedians, people who entertain, and athletes. I've interviewed NHL hockey players, and so Friday's kind of like a fun day. So I have a different theme for each day of the week.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm seeing myself coming on and doing at least 4 of the 5 days over the next year, because I definitely
You
could
could
speak to
fit
any of
into
those.
any of those.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so your show is going to be starting on June 1st, and people can find that on E360 TV, right?
E360, 360 TV. There are some episodes in there already. I did do a few just to get the feel for the technology and practice and so on. And then I've taken a bit of a hiatus in May because I have some personal things I need to attend to. And I'll be back on June 1st. So I do have a Facebook page. It's called the Laurie Davis Show Facebook page. And that's where I keep everything, who I'm interviewing, show details, what's coming next. Like today, I'm going to blast it with the book launch information. And yeah, so I can hardly wait.
Wonderful. Excellent. So now let's take that intro into your book launch. Today is the book launch for Ignite the Entrepreneur. Yay. You guys have already gone bestseller. Yay.
Yes.
So you've already gone bestseller. Tell me about that process of writing, what you wrote about, and just the entire, that experience with the Ignite community. How's that been for you?
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
I wrote a chapter called, I hope I can remember it, my entrepreneurial path to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been self-employed and an entrepreneur for 36 years now.
Yeah.
Because I retired from teaching in 1984. And so I basically have been self-employed since then. Yeah. I loved writing the chapter because I remember I started my first business when I was 12. And it was 1962. My dad had lost his job. In 1962, you didn't get severance pay. There was no compensation. And all of a sudden, my family has no income. And I'm feeling the pinch. I have 2 younger sisters. And so I decided, well, I can help. I'm 12. I can help. And I took my colored pencils and some construction paper, and I made homemade flyers, and I put one in every mailbox on my street. And in a month or 2, I had all the babysitting, all the housework, walking the dogs, mowing the grass, feeding the cats, house sitting, whatever, because my mom was right there in the event of an emergency.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to have a boyfriend, so they didn't have to worry about having boyfriends over.
Yeah.
And that was my first job, and I was actually feeding my family. I made enough money in a week. I handed it all to my mom, and we had money for groceries. And I was pretty, it was pretty creative, I think, for being 12. And then that was my entrepreneurial seed, though, that kept growing. And I mentioned it in my chapter. Even after I started teaching, I had a little catering business on the side. I fed all the single guys and gals in the school, the staff, who were too lazy to make a sandwich. Friday night, I was getting my own groceries, and this is all in my story. And another cart, one was for my personal groceries, and the other one was for my sandwich making program. So, yeah.
Wow. Now, for those who don't know about the Ignite compilation books, they're usually 30 to 40 authors who each write a chapter. And the Ignite stories are written as such that there is a power quote. And then there's also at the very end, there's an opportunity for the reader to reflect what are the teachings that you want the reader to know. So my question to you, Laurie, is what is your power quote, if you recall it? And what was the teaching that you want the reader to walk away with, to know for themselves?
Well, my power quote was, money does not generate great ideas. It's great ideas that generate money. So
money does not, let me just repeat that. Money does not generate great ideas. It's great ideas that generate money. Yeah, that definitely lands.
Right? Because when you are an entrepreneur, this is why I had to become one, I always could see needs. And when you see a need for something and you can actually manifest it and make it physical and real, you'll always be successful, because I just have that ability to do that. Even when I was a little kid, my grandmother would take me to funerals and showers and baby showers, because she said, when you go in, you make people feel good. So, and everybody needs that. As far as the teachings, my teachings were all about making sure entrepreneurship provides us with a huge opportunity to be free. And what I mean by that is, and I talk in my chapter about a couple of tragedies that occurred. And the beautiful thing was, I was able to take all the time in the world to heal, to grieve, to take care of my family, whatever it was, because I was self-employed, and I didn't have to show up at work every day and get penalized if I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I've enjoyed a very privileged life. Has there been difficulties? Many challenges. But
Mm-hmm.
I am free to make
Mm-hmm.
my own decisions when I want to work, when I don't want to work. And so I think for my chapter, it leaves people knowing that absolutely anybody could be an entrepreneur if they really wanted to be.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand that we are our own greatest resource.
Yes.
Nobody's going to pay me like I can pay me.
Yes. And we are also our own greatest obstacle.
Oh, yes.
Right. So,
Laurie had to step aside on more than one
yes.
occasion.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, what's coming up for Laurie? Before we went live today, we talked about not one, not two, not three, but four potential books plus. Tell me what's in the plans for you.
Well, I want to write a book, and it's pretty much together. I have the manuscripts pretty much in place, but lots of work to do in editing and so on. That's what I learned from Ignite. I just really enjoyed that process
Mm-hmm.
and learning from those experts. But I have a book, Self Missing Link, and in that book, I'm going to share a process that I use called Reclaiming My Self Worth. I do that in a retreat format, and I'm now doing it online. That in like 48 hours, I can have people in a place where they've let go of all the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they can look forward to the new. And that's a pretty intense experience, but it's amazing. And people leave feeling there's nothing wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
The second book, 21 Days to Happiness, Joy, and Inner Peace. That is a self-directed workbook format, and it's a 21-day process, and it's people become friends with their workbook, and they actually interact with that workbook every day for 21 days. I've actually had people come off antidepressants at the end of that process. I could make some medical claims, by the way, but I won't.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I have another book that I want to share because in 1986, my first husband disappeared and has been on a missing persons list since 1986.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after suicide attempts, 2 years in an institution, and then he went missing. So I connect and relate a lot. That's where my work in the Aboriginal communities has fostered, because I have personal experience with suicide, not just the suicide, but the aftermath for those of us that are left. I want to write a book about that and how life, and I don't even like the word suicide. When I'm working with youth, I always talk to them about, here are some ways for you to stay alive.
Yeah.
So that's another book that I want to do. And after that, well, I'd like to write non, no, excuse me, fiction.
Mm.
I have a way with romance. I love romance. I'm a romantic, and I love working with couples and helping them to put the romance back into their relationship. So I would be one of those Harlequin type authors, I believe. I could be really good at that, and I can write little sexual innuendos in there and just entertain people. And so I think I will try that.
That's exciting. I look forward to reading all of the above. I think those those first ones that you spoke about that are really about empowerment and growth and self-worth and self-understanding. I mean, those are just essential in the world today. And then there's a part of me that's also extremely curious about the fiction, because I don't read a lot of fiction. I continuously read personal growth and personal development and spiritual text. And so there's a part of me that thinks one day I'm going to get back to reading those Harlequin romance books, and I will look for yours. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm excited I'm going to go right after this. I'm going to go on and get the Ignite Entrepreneur Kindle. So for anybody who doesn't know, if you're seeing this now and it's Friday afternoon, you can go on Amazon and you can get the Entrepreneur Kindle for free. If you're not sure how to find it on Amazon, I will put the link in my comment section right after this show. and you can get the Kindle version for free. And then the wonderful thing is you can have a quick read of Laurie's story, maybe a couple others that interest you. They're all amazing. I mean, they're always all amazing. And then you can leave a review on Amazon, and that helps the book to go to higher status. And already within a couple of hours, as per Ignite's incredible reputation, it has already gone bestseller in the US. In how many categories, Laurie?
Um, Back in 8 categories, and I'll just share with you in case you didn't know, we were advised to tell people not to go directly to Amazon.
Okay.
Put the link directly into your browser.
Okay.
And then you can download the book, and
Great.
I can get that to you. It's just http mybook.to. I can put it up in our
Can you put it in the chat right now, and then I'll copy it?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. And I did a plug for the Ignite the Entrepreneur a couple of hours ago, so it should be on my personal Facebook page, but I'll put this one on the Realign to Thrive Facebook page. Laurie, I'm curious if there's any final messages that you have for people out there, especially people right now that are either considering moving into entrepreneurship, people who are entrepreneurs and struggling with the challenges that COVID is bringing for them. What's the one message you want to leave people with?
Oh, I have a great one. Just hang on here.
Okay.
Well, I know I had a yard sale last week, and a young woman came to buy some things. And she told me she was a teacher. And I said, how's it going? And she said, I've been in quarantine 3 times so far this year. I mean, talk about tough. And then try to manage 28 or 30 kids in an online classroom.
Yeah.
Pretty difficult. She said, I'm getting ready to quit. And I said, oh my, that's too bad. And I said, may I have your name and number? And I will love to send you some information, because I'm always looking for facilitators to deliver my material. And if you want to work from home, she had a little guy. I think, and she was open. So my message is, when somebody comes up to you just like that out of the blue, shares a little bit about what's happening for them, and you have something to offer them, open your mouth. And my second thing, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, make sure the people that are mentoring you and coaching you have the credibility to do so.
Yeah.
Because there are many, many different kinds of coaches out there, and mentors, and people who call themselves a mentor.
Yeah.
In order to be an expert and a mentor, one must have 10,000 hours of experience in their field of endeavor. And if somebody doesn't have that, they have no business mentoring anybody else. Okay. So just be careful of that, and find the people, those of us who've been around and have done it. We're all more than happy to share it, and get your hands on the books and read the good books. And by the way, reading those little Harlequins, Diana, and those fictional books take our mind away from all the cognitive stuff that we have to deal with every single day. I give away, as soon as I read a book, I give it away. I used to have a huge library, and I thought, what's the point of those books sitting on the shelf?
Yeah.
When someone else, I'll never read it again. I've got the information, I'm moving on. So those 3 things, just
wonderful.
And go for it.
Yeah.
And just do it. It's there, it's available. And right now on the planet, all kinds of new careers and jobs and entrepreneurship and opportunities are being created every day.
Absolutely. And remember, everything started with an imagination and a dream, everything that exists today. And so there's nothing that you, as a considering entrepreneur, can't also create. Laurie, thank you so much for being here. Good luck with doing your interview with Ignite in a little while. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
And I will continue to follow you. I'm going to talk to you about your show. I'm actually launching my own TV show in the fall. It's going to be Realign to Thrive.
Great.
Which is my brand and my program. And so, we'll have to get in touch and do some supporting each other in that genre. I have a feeling I have a lot to learn from you. So thank you so much for taking time out of this very, very busy day to be here, to share your expertise, your wisdom, your knowledge, your heart, and your grace with my audience. And have a wonderful
Well,
weekend.
thank you. Yeah, you too. It's a long weekend here in Canada.
It is.
So thank you. And how may I share this with I want to put this out to my contacts. What's the best way for me to do that?
So I'll tag you. I'll share the link on Facebook with you.
Okay.
I'll tag you on it, and then I'll also send you the YouTube link. So I'm recording this, and will be saved on a YouTube link, so you can share the
Okay,
YouTube link.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
very
Just
much.
hang tight for just a minute, Laurie, while I
Okay.
turn off the recordings.